On this video, we are going to be looking at OpenRoad through the lens of a manager. There are a few aspects about OpenRoad that should be appealing to management. One, and I think the biggest, what the initial reason that we started to build OpenRoad is to bring some kind of visibility to tour history, to be able to show it through a geographic lens, to take this thing that is a show settlement and put it in context of other show settlements that have happened in the market. This was initially designed by business management team, and so it really looks at things through the financial lens first and foremost, but that's not quite as exciting as actually taking that data and then snapping it into a geographic lens. So what we'll do is walk through that first and talk about some of the angles and of what make that helpful and how you can use it. So the first thing to say about the system is that it's built upon the back of show settlements. A show settlement is the most granular aspect of the system, and it's also the most critical. This is not meant to replace a tool that your settler, so we use the term settler to refer to typically the tour manager. It's whoever is settling the shows at the end of the night. But we have users in the system who are settling shows, and they're members of the band or they're front of house person, not necessarily the tour manager. So we're using the word settler to describe any of those people. Each night when settlement happens, this is not meant to replace some complex spreadsheet that you might have. It's also not meant to replace the role of a tour manager or a tour accountant really getting in and looking at the numbers and ad buys and expenses and all that review process. This is not meant to replace that. This is meant to be a tool where the higher level numbers are recorded in a system that then the business manager can access, the agent can access, the manager can access, and of course the settler initially submitting these, and band members themselves or members of the business can access it also. So when we look at show settlements, which we won't go into here, but I'll show you at a very high level, this show that we're looking at in Denver at the Bluebird Theater, if we click view, we come into what's called a show detail page, and we can see the summary information up here. This is an image of the market. These are initially roughly based on television markets. So Denver is an interesting one because it's got the Front Range plus many of the mountain towns. But you can see a map at least of what it is here, and then it's got these strange little pockets for some reason that are elsewhere, which again relate to television viewing markets. And then we have the map of the venue here, and then we have the show settlement information at a very high level. As a manager, you might want to look at these ticket analytics. The show efficiency is the amount that the band got paid, or it's the amount that was earned total of the show, so total revenue earned from the show. In other words, the total amount that people paid for tickets, and that's divided by the amount that the band earned, and it gives you an efficiency rating. And you can click these little information bubbles that show you. So I had that incorrect. It was what the band got paid, their performance income divided by the show gross revenue. So it gives you an efficiency rating. Average ticket paid per attendee here, average of that paid to the band here, and then the average merch sale. And then here's the show settlement. We'll look at that in more detail in a second. If there are any show notes that the settler or the band put in on the show, that would show up here. And then here is our market history, and you will see here that each of these pink dots is, the pink is a headline and co-bill, the purple is a festival play, and the blue is a support. So we're trying to draw the line of revenue on headline shows. The Denver market tends to be all over the place because of the mountain towns, but if you find a smaller market, hopefully what you'll see for your client is that that line goes up just like this one does. And then there's some log information down here. If you want to see the actual settlement as a manager, you can click on settlement here, and come into the detailed numbers if that's of interest to you. And you can see the actual venue settlement sheet in here. So one aspect of this system is, like I was saying, it's built on this as the base of the system, these show settlement sheets. And this is really just recording these high level numbers. Like I said, it's not meant to replace the Excel sheet that someone might use to verify that the promoter is paying you the correct amount. But once you agree on that amount, you record these high level numbers here for both performance and merch. And one of the beauties of the system is that you can have this singular record that your agency can be tapped into, your business manager can be tapped into, and there's tools in here that work with your partners. So I would say one sales pitch here is that this improves, it can help improve the communication within your team. You know that you, the manager, the agent, the business manager, and your settlers are all looking at the same information. If your business manager sees this and can come in here and they can make changes if there's something that isn't correct, like perhaps the settler didn't get the state income tax withholding recorded correctly, or perhaps there's fan club sales that the band has access to already and they didn't record that properly. The business manager can come in here and make an audit if necessary and make changes. So all your team members accessing the information in one place. And we have noticed that this really helps make things easier. So the agent, for example, we have found that, and there are the big agencies using this. Wasserman uses it, Mint uses it. Some of the bands that are already on the platform are with those agencies, Partisan. And we have heard from the agency staff that this can save them anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour per show from tracking things down, trying to track down missing information, which can take a while. What that means for you as a manager is that if you can get this information recorded on a nightly basis by your settler, agency has access to it. They get the venue settlement sheet. It's always in the same format. They know exactly where to find it. And this actually ends up getting your client paid faster. We have seen that request times for settlement statements can drop from 8 weeks for the client getting paid from the agency down to just a couple weeks because of the complete information that can be in OpenRoad. So improvement of communication between your team, starting with these show settlements. Something else about these show settlements is there are tools here for the accounting, for the business managers. They can reconcile the agency, they can reconcile the records from the settler against the agency records. So you can batch a bunch of shows and then it takes those shows and puts them in a format very similar to the agency statement, and you or your business manager can easily compare what the agency has to what the settler recorded. And you can sometimes find discrepancies. So it might be that agency accidentally commissioned on a payment that was inclusive of support, and you feel that it should be just on the amount that the band earned, obviously, and not the support inclusive amount. So you can see things like that. And we have a little reconciliation note about that here, that initially this was shown as the agency accidentally commissioning on support. So you can have this tool for a business manager. There's also a journal entry export tool, which enables the business management team to export shows into a journal entry format so that they can track checks to make sure that they get deposited. They can track the TorCash bank to make sure that cash never goes missing. And they can also, like we said, reconcile the agency statement. So second pitch here, I would say, or the second angle, is that just by having your settler enter show information in here and this acting as a single source of record, it's improving the communication with your team and you're providing tools for them. You're making their lives easier, speeding things up so you can get your band paid faster, and also speeding things up for the business manager and in such a way that you can make sure that the band is always getting everything due to them, that checks never go missing. All right, one other aspect about settlement that we'll get into, this feature is being launched tomorrow, is that you are able to set the deadline for when settlements are due. and this is an expectation that you'll set with your settler, your tour manager. The options are 6 a.m., which is the 6 a.m. the morning after a show, which essentially means that night. It's 6 p.m. the day after the show or 6 p.m. the day after that. So there are three options of when it's due, and an email notification will be sent to them if they miss the deadline with a gentle reminder to submit settlement. So for you, one of the sales pitches here is that you get your settlement sheet delivered to you on a daily basis, depending on when you choose your settlement to be delivered. But it's always in the same format. It's sent via email. I don't have an example right here to show you, but it's sent via email, and it looks very similar to this part right here of the show detail page. So it's going to have this kind of information. It will have a link back to the show settlement, or yeah, the show settlement that comes from the promoter. There will be a link back to that, which will be in the system. You'll see this efficiency and these little hard ticket analytics in the email as well. So I would say that fits in the category of making your life a little bit easier in that this comes consistently to you. Other than this, the show settlement, I think that covers everything for show settlement. The biggest part for you, I think, in addition to getting the show settlement and knowing that you're providing tools for the team that's going to make sure your band gets due, or your client, sorry, gets all of their money due to them and that payments don't go missing, you also get access to these market pages, which we have found with our management contacts that this is the most helpful part of the system. This is obviously a map of the US. This is broken up by television market. This is a demo client, so there's not many shows in here, but we did load up data for the Denver market, so you can see what this looks like. If your client is coming into Open Road, we can import their tour history. We can go as far back as you want, but there's a show import tool that makes it fairly easy to bring in the tour history. And that way, when you come and look in here, this map would be reflecting a heat map. It's a heat map showing the total income per market, as you can see here. So because we loaded up a few shows with the Denver market, that one shows to be this darker red color, and then these markets down here have just a couple shows, and well, it's based on revenue, so just a little bit of revenue, and they're a lighter shade. If you import your tour history in here, imagine yourself on a routing call, and you're talking with your agent and trying to figure out, this is based on true story, you're trying to figure out how to route from Los Angeles out to Phoenix and what markets you might do. If this is, I would say, amplified also if you have not been with this client for too long. If you've been with them for a long time, this might all be in your brain, but if you haven't been with them for too long, this can be especially helpful. But you can click on the market that you're looking at, and up will come the market detail page. So here we have Bakersfield. I meant to click on LA, so I just on this map would click on the LA San Diego market. This is probably the San Diego market. Oh yeah, Santa Barbara. There we go, Los Angeles. And you can just click through these markets. Once you get to the market page, if you have a tour history there, you'd scroll down, you'd see the graph, and then you'd see all your tour history right here. This is a list of venues that other clients, other bands have played in the market. Eventually there will be more tour intelligence tied with this. So bands like you have played these venues and had this kind of success there and so on. For now, it's just a list of the venues, and you can click on the venue, and we see this is just for system administrators. So there's nothing you can do with those right now, but you can see the venues there. So if you're on a routing call, you can look at your tour history and you're trying to route between LA and Phoenix, let's say, or maybe LA out to Albuquerque, and you're looking to see what your tour history has been in each of these markets. Maybe there are tertiary markets that are part of this bigger market that you want to look at, and you can just click and drag the map like this and say that you want to just follow along Route 40 out to Oklahoma City, you can just click on each of these markets and follow the map along on Route 40 and have your routing calls just by clicking on these, scrolling down, looking at your tour history. So you can be very quick with this. We have heard from our managers that they estimate on average they're saving about 4 hours a month on routing calls. So similarly, if you want to pick, we can pick a market here that has history so you can see what this looks like. So now we have the Denver market. We can see some summary information here about the market. We can see the graph, and if you hover over these, it'll tell you when the show was performed. And then down below, we see each of those shows. So this is a nice growth for this imaginary band. They started out with a support slot in Boulder, but all in the Denver market, at least television market. And then we can see they did a headline right before COVID shut down. They had a nice show at the Boulder Theater. Came back and did a soft play at a festival. Festivals don't have paid attendance. We do ask the settler to track estimated crowd size, which could be helpful eventually for analytics, but for now we don't show anything under paid attendance. And then we've got a headline last fall, 300 people. So this is showing the growth in revenue, but down here you can get an idea, just an eyeball, get your eyeballs on this, and in conversation with a routing call, you can make some judgment calls. So in theory, this will help make your client more money. We have seen that just by having access to this information, if you get, say, a support slot offer or even a hard ticket offer, by having access to the tour history quickly like this, you can have the conversation with your agent about what you think the offer should be, and you can use the data to help drive up your offers to what you think is an appropriate place. Another way that we've seen this used is you can take, you'll have access, most likely you'll be set up as an admin on the account, and you have access to a show export. So you can export this data, and when it exports, it's in a big CSV file. I won't do it now so we don't get bogged down in this demo, but if you click on the export, you can change the dates, and then you can download this CSV file, and the markets will be listed as part of the CSV file, so you can sort on the market. Let's say you get a support tour offer for the Florida and the Southeast. You can just grab that market history for those markets and share it with whomever is offering the support slot to you. We had a client that was using OpenRoad, a baby band that had an offer for the Southeast, and I think the offer was 1,500 and for a support slot. And after looking at the tour history, the offer was increased to 1,500 or to 2,000. So not a huge difference, but still a difference. And the manager being able to access the data from OpenRoad and export it and be able to discuss the tour history in those markets and show that they would be strong support enabled them to get their offer bumped up a little bit. So save time on routing calls and quickly assess show opportunities by looking at the market detail pages. That pretty much covers the angle for a manager. You've got communication tool for your team. You've got tools for your team that's going to help you get paid help your client get paid faster from the agency and make sure that every dollar is accounted for with your accounting team. Your settler, your tour manager, it gives them a consistent platform to be so that once they learn how to use this every night, they can come in here. It's like muscle memory. They can get shows in here. You set the time that they're delivered to you, so you get consistent delivery in a consistent format of show settlement information, and then you use the market pages to help you make wiser decisions on upcoming offers. We call this the tour intelligence features. That's it in summary. If you have any questions about how to use the tools of OpenRoad for your benefit as a manager, email team@openroad.ltd. Thanks for watching.